group, and I have a volume called SQL that sits in the default pool. I have configured my snapshot reserve, from which pool my snapshot reserve is going to consume free space from.
Default. Default pool.
Sorry?
If I have two pools, default. I have default pool. I have configured myself.
From which pool?
Default.
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 Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's correct. So the snapshot always follows the location where the volume actually is sitting. All right. So you cannot have a snapshot reserve sitting on different pools. Second question. I have. Sorry.
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay. So I have a volume called SQL again, and it's a tick volume. Okay, so you know what the tick volume is.
Yes.
The size of that tick volume is 1 terabyte, but only 50% in use. So if we go into our operating system, we can see that it's only 500 gig in use. How much space we need if we want to clone that volume?
1 TB. 1 TB as well.
That is correct. Very good. That questions. I also have a volume called SQL2, and it's a thin volume. The size is 1 terabyte, but only 50% in use. How much space we need if we want to clone that volume?
50%. 500.
500
500 GB.
Yep, great. You're doing very, very well today. Very good. So, next question. Which application are supported by ASMME? So, for ASMME to be able to create snapshots
BS,
or smart copies, what we call.
BSS.
That's the next question, the component.
Okay.
But application.
Exchange.
So, which application can ASMME work with?
Exchange.
Exchange, yes.
SharePoint.
SharePoint, yep, very good. And then SQL and Hyper-V. Okay, so very, very good. And next question. ASMME will work together with which Microsoft Windows components. So you already answered that question, which is VSS. And then next question, it's what is the difference between smart copies and snapshots created using Group Manager? So why we call it smart copies, not a dumb copies or just a copy? What is the smart behind it?
Ano na?
Sorry?
Not sure.
So if we, going back to ASM slides that we covered yesterday, we can see that there is a different process when we creating smart copies. There is a kind of different interaction between VSS and your application. So what is actually happening there? Why smart copies? Okay, so I just answered that question. It's application aware or it's crash consistent. Okay. So you remember where a backup software such as Commvault trying to back up your exchange, it sends information to VSS saying that, yeah, I would like to take snapshots. Please quench the database so I can talk to Ecologic so Ecologic can take the snapshots. So ASMME is useful so you can have a crash consistent and application aware snapshots or application. Okay, so that's the purpose of ASMME actually. All right, next question. Which array supports compression and which firmware you need to have so you can enable compression?
Version 8. Firmware version. Version 8.
Firmware version 8, that's correct. But do you know which particular array that supported?
52 and 66. Right, right. We have 62 and 66.
62? That's correct. So only 62 and 66 supported. Nice. All right. Next question. Are you able to combine ecologic arrays that support compression and does not support compression into a single pool? Yes or no? Yes. Very good. All right. Next question. What is required before you start your application?
Establish a partnership.
Partnership. Very good. So you need to create your partnership before you can start your replication. Okay. Next question. Does Equalogic support pool replication, snapshot replication, or volume replication, or all of them?
Volume.
Only volume. Nice. You're really good. Okay.
Tapos pagdating sa setup,
Where does replication delegated space actually sitting? Is it coming from group free space or pool free space?
dedicated space.
May inaalot yung space para makapag replicate.
So where it delegates space, if you have, for example, 50 gig delegated space, where that delegated space is coming from? Is it from the group free space or the pool free space?
Full free space.
Pool free space. Nice. Yeah. So group free space, it's nothing. Okay. What is important in logic is about pool. Group is just the way you manage it in a group. Next, if I have two pools called default and maintenance, where can I configure my delegated space so I can receive an inbound replication?
Maintenance. Maintenance.
Any any hints or
Yung sagot.
where can I configure my delegated space? On my default or maintenance, or I can do it on both?
Ini yang merah.
All right, I'll just answer that question. You can actually do it on both, or if you have multiple pools, you can do it in multiple pools. That option only available in version 8 firmware. Okay, if you have a version 7 or earlier, you can only set up your delegated space in one particular pool. Okay, so you cannot have multiple delegated space. Only have one delegated space in firmware version 7 or below. Okay, so that's all about today's review questions. Before we start, do you have any questions from yesterday materials?
None so far.
None so far. Very good. Okay. So how about your lab? How far you go with your lab?
We're on lab 7 already, sir.
Lab 7. Okay. Good progression. All right. So today what we're going to discuss is module 8 to 12. It seems quite lots of module, but most of those modules are pretty short. Okay, so I'm gonna start now, and then I would like to take a bit of break in about half an hour because I need to step out. Probably about 15 minutes to half an hour. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So let's start. All right. So module 8. Module 8 is about multi-member groups, pool, and load balancing. Okay. So first of all, a feature in EQLogic is everything is automatic load balance. Okay. That's why we call it EQLogic, to make it equal, to make it balance, right? So these are the main features of balance in EQLogic. First is a network load balance. Okay, so basically it distributes iSCSI connection across multiple network interfaces. So it load balance equally, right? This is all automatic in the background. So there is no user interaction is needed. Next is MPIO. As you know, MPIO sits on a host. It enables distribution of a load between ports on the host level. Okay, so you can have better performance if you enable MPIO. Remember my example yesterday about MPIO when you have a single thread when you're doing a download compared to you use multiple thread, you get a better performance out of it. Okay. Next is capacity load balance. Also, what is capacity load balance? Basically, it maintains a proportionate disk consumption across the pool to enable rapid changes in consumption. Okay, while minimizing impacts and performance. So it basically balances out the disk consumption, so you don't have one member it's consume more compared to the other member. Next is free space balancing. It's just to maintain free space distribution across member. Okay, so this is really important if you have members that is that has a different capacity. You can have, like I mentioned, you can join a smaller member to bigger member in reality. Okay, So we will discuss that, and I think I have sent out yesterday a discussion topic about this by because Richard asking a question where can we actually merge a non, for example, a SAS member with a SADA member, right? Yes, you can. However, that will, I would say, increase your complexity of your storage environment. The the easiest way is to make sure you use the same member every time, but in reality, it's kind of sometimes hard to do that. Okay, so EQLogic has a way to actually do it, but you need to follow that guidelines. All right. Next is APLB. Okay, so it's sorry. It stands for Automatic Performance Load Balance. So what is a load balance in here in particular? It's actually looking at latency of each member. So if you have a member that has a higher latency, then EqualLogic will move the pages so that particular member doesn't serve too many I/O, and it can redistribute that particular hot pages to different array so that array can actually work to serve your host. Okay, so again, this is automatic. You can, or technical support can actually see that operation in the logs, but for you as a customer, you cannot see this particular operation. Okay, but all these operations are actually logged inside Dell EqualLogic. Lastly is hybrid array load balance, right? This is only applied on the hybrid array. You know yourself, hybrid array only support RAID 6 accelerated. So basically this is a distribution of high I/O between SSD and the SAS RAID. As you know, a hybrid array is a combination between the two normally. Right, so this is pretty much the load balance feature in EcoLogic that is exists, but normally user doesn't actually see it. So this is a typical example of APLB, right? So you have your hot and warm pages, okay, and it's doing hot and cold swap between the two members. Now this is transparent operation, so again you don't see it. You can see the blue pages there move from one member to the other. Okay, so that's how actually it actually works. All right. My PowerPoint actually just crashed, so I do apologize. Bear with me. All right, so I'm just gonna restart the presentation. Okay, so you have that. So you can see the blue pages actually moving from this member to this one. Okay, so this is transparent. The process itself in the background it actually moving about 10 pages at a time. So this is a hot and cold page swapping. This is determined by the number of reads and writes on a particular page in a given time set. Okay, it only moves 10 pages at a time. One pages is about 15 meg, so in total you are moving about 150 pages at one point. So this is a pretty low operation compared to the bandwidth you have between your members, especially if you have 10 gig members. Okay, so normally hot and cold page swapping doesn't cause any performance issue, right? So how do we see a page is a cold page? First, of course, is unallocated space. So page that is not written by any of your hosts. And then the second is a page that has not been accessed in a long time. So if you write something and then your host never actually read it, then it's treated as a cold page. So when actually hot and cold page swapping put on hold. So if, for example, you have an overloaded pool, the pool is actually very busy, then a hot and cold page swapping will be put on hold. Okay, if you have a pool members that have latency of 100 millisecond or greater, that is the second cause of when hot and cold page swapping put on hold. The third one is when a pool transition from being overloaded to available. Okay, so um, that will take a bit of time before it actually uh, continue doing hot and cold page swapping. Lastly, it will page swapping will pause for 10 minutes and then resume and will repeat as necessary. Okay, so in a real scenario, to prevent this sort of performance issue, page swapping only happens every 10 minutes. So it doesn't continuously uh, do it doing in the background, even though it's a 150 meg operation, but you can imagine after finishing 150 meg doing another page swapping. So that's why EQL put a 10 minutes interval. Okay. As a user, you have the ability to actually turn this off. How you turn this off? It's from group managers, quite easy. So this is a group level configuration. So you cannot set this up on a member level. And then you just basically untick this box. Right. I would suggest you don't do this unless a technical support rep saying that you need to do this. Right, because normally if you do this, right, you may cause performance issue. There is a certain scenario where disabling APLB actually improve performance, but like I said, just discuss that with technical support first. Now, let's discuss the next topic, which is a storage pool. Why do we need multiple storage pool? You probably already know one of the reason is for to prevent a downtime when you're doing a firmware upgrade, right? That's one of the reason why you have multiple storage pool. Now, this is the different business reason and also design reason where you have multiple storage pool. One is, of course, business. So you don't want a business critical application running on on the same array that is non-business critical. So you can actually create multiple pool. You don't want, for example, you can imagine for you have a rate 5 member and then you have a rate 10 member. If you have everything together, then there is a potential, uh, you know, in a rate 5, if you have two hardware failure, then you lose your production. Okay. If you have a business or high critical application, you should put it on a rate level that is most has the most protection, such as rate 6, for example. Out of the rate in equal logic, rate 6 is the safest rate that's available. Okay, so that's one reason. Second reason is allow for sync wrap, because sync wrap requires multiple pool. You cannot do a sync wrap between groups. You can only do it between pools in the same group. That is the requirement of sync wrap. Next reason is to separate slower and faster speed disk drives. So this is for creating what we call